Just shows you like how at any given moment these social media platforms could just be taken away. TikTok is back now for now because who knows what's gonna come next. Hey guys, it's Sunshine. Today I'm gonna talk about my opinions on the TikTok ban. Okay, let's start off with the fact that the ban wasn't even in effect for a day. Literally a day. And I'm like, the ban literally, because I'm on the East Coast, so the ban literally went into effect at like 10 p.m., right? 2 hours prior to it supposed to going into ban. And the ban was only for like literally 14 hours. It went into effect at night. I'm like, y'all were freaking out. It was time for y'all to go to bed. That's what it was. It was time for y'all to go to sleep. Get your good night rest. Because guess what? Literally, the day that it was supposed to be banned, it literally came into effect. And I mean, TikTok, that was cute, a little timeout. And you know, something that really like sticks out to me is, I don't know if you guys use Twitter, but I use Twitter, or now X. And last summer, no, 2 summers ago, no. Technically, it would be last summer or a summer ago because we're not in summer yet. But summer of 2023. This was summer 23. Twitter literally had this thing where it was like, it limits the amount of views that you like, the amount of tweets that you can view. And then it was like, it would say a message like, tweet view exceeded, right? Tweet limit exceeded. And it was like, huh? Like you could still tweet, but I just know that you couldn't even see your own tweet. And so things like the TikTok ban and like even like blocking how many tweets you see, I feel like we're getting teased with these stuff. And people laugh, people are like, oh my god, ha ha ha. But it's like, that whole Twitter fiasco was not too long ago. This whole TikTok fiasco was just a few days ago. Literally not even a full day ago. And it's just so interesting. It just shows you like how at any given moment these social media platforms could just be taken away. I mean, think about how people's accounts are easily banned and easily taken away. But imagine where it's to a point where it's like a whole group of people. I mean, people already go through this in other countries where it's like they lose access to social media sites where they can't communicate with other people, or everything that they read or see is censored. And so it's like, I feel like, because I'm in America, and so I feel like in America we're extremely sheltered, we're extremely privileged. I can definitely say that. We are sheltered in our own way compared to other people. And sometimes I feel like we don't really register that, hey, like, this is something that they're kind of showing you what's to come. Like, I wouldn't be surprised one day they're gonna be like, all right, like, joke's over. There's a bunch of rules and regulations that come to these social media apps. And it makes me like kind of sad, because it's like, social media, I feel like social media was really on and popping like 10 years ago. We're in 2025. Think of like, or even like 10 plus years ago, like 2013, that's when like I know Twitter like took off. Twitter has been around prior to that, but I know like around that time, that's when Twitter really started like taking off, becoming like really mainstream. And then same time too, Instagram, like the new kid on the block, everybody like, girl, I remember like Instagram. Oh, I used to stay on Instagram and just be like, you know, everyone's just posting like crazy random stuff. I remember posting pictures of my coffee mug, or like, and all the memes and quotes. I would post like a lot of memes and quotes. Like, everyone would just post like the most randomest stuff, but we were having just so much fun. And I feel like that used to be like the beautiful thing about social media, is that people used to be chaotic, but we were still having fun. And I feel like now it's just, I feel like you just have to make the fun out of it, because I feel like being on social media can be so nauseating. It can be so nauseating. And they're talking about, oh, TikTok. No, they need to take Twitter. Let me do my quick rant about Twitter. The thing that irritates me about that particular app is, compared to all the other apps and social media platforms, this is what I notice a lot. People just like to argue, and people just like to sun somebody. They just want to sun somebody. They just want to school people. It's like someone could tweet, "I hate apples," and then someone's gonna come and quote that tweet and say, you hate fruit. You don't like fruit. Fruit is healthy for you. Fruit helps you. Fruit gives you calories and like how these fruit gives you vitamins, and it gives you energy, and it's healthy. And do you see what they're doing to the Department of Health? Do you see what they're doing to the Department of Health? You don't like fruit? What's wrong with you? And it's like all the original poster, they said, I don't like apples. And like, I feel like people just make everything out of the tiniest thing that somebody said. It's like people are just trying to sun somebody. They're trying to sun them. They're trying to school them. They're trying to be like, I know more than you, or what I think is more important than what you think. And I mean, a platform like Twitter is meant to have discourse, is meant for people to share their opinions and share their thoughts. And of course, people are gonna have opposing thoughts and opinions. Like, that's totally fine. But it's just so fucking annoying when people are like looking for a problem. They're looking for a problem, looking for a chance to try to sun somebody and try to prove that they know more, or that they're morally superior, or that they're more intelligent. And it's like, just because you don't agree with what that person is saying doesn't mean that what they're saying doesn't have value. And on top of that, why are you making something out of what is not there? Like, a person could literally say one thing or say something clear as day. They literally just said, I don't like apples, and then people will go and twist it. People just like to twist things because they want to project, and they just want to put what they think onto what that person said. And it's just like, that's not even, that whole discourse that you just created was so unnecessary, given that that's not what the person said. That's not what the original tweet said. The fact that you're quoting this and now you're making a whole big ordeal out of this is just so crazy to me. It's just like, why? And that's what just pisses me off about Twitter specifically. I just feel like a lot of people just go on there to try to like flex about things that are just so stupid. It's like, at the end of the day, you already know that you live in a world where people have different opinions, opposing opinions, and people are entitled to that. And you're allowed to share your opinions and your beliefs, but why is it that it has to be to a point where it's like, why does it have to be to a point where it's like people can't even share what they think without people just purposely looking into that message and trying to spin it in a way that's not how the person originally presented it? And I definitely have done that myself a few times, but then it's just like, I have to check myself and be like, oh wait, let me reread that, let me read it through. Because sometimes, you know, we read stuff and then we interpret it one way, but then you read it back again, you're like, oh shit, like, that's not even what I meant. And I mean, some people, they even do that, but they just probably take that to the chin and be like, oh shit, like, I definitely came for that person for the wrong reason because I misread that. But it's like, people do that all the time, and it's like, sometimes we actually need to take a moment and actually digest what the other person is saying, instead of being so quick to just like be that pressed to fight them. But on the topic of TikTok, honestly, a lot of people like to call TikTok brain rot, especially for kids. And let me just even put this in context. If I were to put the social media apps in like a category of who to stay and who to get taken out, I would keep YouTube and Instagram and get rid of TikTok and Twitter. Granted, all these platforms, I appreciate them, but TikTok and Twitter could just be like, TikTok, honestly, I don't have any issues with TikTok, like at least to like the severity I have with Twitter or X. But when it comes to TikTok, like, people like to call TikTok brain rot. And the thing that's so funny about that is like, It's the same thing as like people back in the day calling television brain rot. People are like, oh, TikTok is bad for the attention span of children. It's bad for the development and growth of children. They said the same thing about music videos. They say the same thing about music that was played on the radios. They say that, oh, this is bad for the children. This is bad for the future generation. You do realize that this song of, oh, this particular thing is bad for the children has been sung for multiple generations. And while I do agree that there needs to be some, there needs to be systems in place to make sure that children are being catered to, it's not a TikTok thing, it's not a social media thing, it's a parenting thing. It's a parenting thing. Because at the end of the day, how does this child even have a phone? How does this child even have access to TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff? Like, seriously. How do these kids have access to these things? And granted, yeah, they could use it while they're at school with their friends or after school or whenever they go to their friend's house or outside of the parents' presence. But for it to be to the degree of like these kids are like actively on it like all the time, let's be fucking real. A lot of these parents give children access to it. They know their kids are on it and they just don't give a fuck. And like the main parents that are like really outspoken about these things are the parents that are like kind of like helicopter parents. The parents that are like, oh, this has gluten. Oh, this has a lot of XYZ and it's not healthy. Like the ones that are like very on top of parenting, no nonsense, right? But a lot of parents are not involved in their kids' life. A lot of parents are not present in their children's life. A lot of parents are letting the fucking internet raise their kids. And I'm like, y'all, if the world doesn't care about grown-ass adults, what makes you think the world is going to care about children? Oh, yeah, we're going to censor, we're going to block these things because kids might be looking, especially on a platform that isn't specifically designed for kids. And even the things that are specifically designed for kids, who's making the platform? We don't know their intentions. So it's like, if the world doesn't even care about grown-ass adults, what makes you think the world is going to care about kids when we already know that people hate kids? People hate kids. And these companies, they're not here like, oh yeah, we're going to make these kids and we are the world, kumbaya. They're going to influence them and program them to do things that benefit these companies in the long run at that. The argument of, oh, social media is ruining the youth is the equivalent of television is ruining the youth, which is the equivalent of music is ruining the youth, which is the equivalent of maybe let's stop blaming the things that are outside and blame the parents, because it always starts at home. It starts within the home. So it's like, and I'm not saying that these social media platforms don't know what they're doing and they're not doing shit that's kind of like shady, because they most definitely are. But it's just such an eye roll when people are like, oh, these social media platforms, they're brain rot for kids. As someone that works with kids, like one-on-one, like works with kids need parents in their lives. They need adults. They need people to show up for them and show, not just be there, but actually be engaged, be present. These are the same parents that are literally shoving iPads in front of children's faces. Literally, the kids are like not even a year old. They already know how to use the fucking iPads. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I mean, we are in a very technologically advanced society and we're progressing even further. So it's like better off starting young, right? But there also has to be boundaries. And I feel like a lot of parents are not instilling boundaries within their children. So it's like everybody wants to point the finger instead of looking at the source. And the source is the parents, which is look after your kids. Make sure you're monitoring what your children are looking at. Have discussions with your kids as to the content that's out there, the content that you deem as, hey, like, this is what we think is healthy for you to consume, and this is why. Like, actually converse with your kids and listen to them. Instead of trying to, oh, TikTok is putting, are you okay in the head? You are the parent. You are supposed to be the one that is there with your child. You're supposed to be the one that's protecting your children from the world. Also, too, I think like TikTok is uh a lot of people also too are like making fun at like content creators and like, oh, like ha ha ha, like look at you, like who told you to quit your job and make money doing content creation. And I'm just like, excuse me, did we not just have a whole pandemic 4 years ago where people literally lost their jobs and jobs that we thought were secure? In your traditional 9 to 5, might I add. Okay, have people not been losing their jobs prior to that? I mean, layoffs. People have experienced being laid off, right? People have experienced being fired. So you could work in a traditional work setting and very much so lose your job. And it's like, y'all over here trying to get your little laughs off, and go ahead, laugh. You're very much so entitled to laugh, but it's like you're trying to laugh at people, you're trying to shit on people who, yes, they quit their traditional job, but you don't know how much they're making. They probably were in a setting to make enough to quit their fucking job. And now definitely there's an art to it, there's a strategy to it. You got to be smart with your money. I think that it would make sense to plan in advance. I mean, you got to plan the cost of living. You also got to prepare depending on where you're living, like for the cost of living to go up, and then how much are you making. And I know the content creation genre, like the whole pricing of it is like, it's very finicky. Like you could be making this much in 1 year and make significantly less the next year, you know. It all just depends on who you are, what you're making, and just all the logistics of that. So it's like, you have to take the responsibility as a content creator if you're going to make it a full-time job. Just as if with any job, you got to be responsible and you got to be mindful of what you're doing. You got to be mindful, you got to be responsible as to what you got to be mindful and responsible as to the financial decisions that you make, right? Especially just in general at this point, the job market is just so, but then especially in the content creation space where it's like, it's really not a guarantee. Like, it's not a guarantee. But I was just like, y'all are literally laughing and trying to be like, ha ha ha, like who told y'all to quit your jobs? If they're getting paid to do work, it's very much so a job. It's very much so a job. Last time I checked, you may not be watching them, but other people are watching them. People are definitely investing in what they are putting out, hence them getting paid for their influence. So I think it does suck that like, well, TikTok is back now for now, because who knows what's gonna come next. Even though TikTok is back for now, it can very much so be taken away tomorrow, and for good at that. Yaga, bye TikTok. Like, and that's just with any app. Hopefully not YouTube though. Not YouTube. But it could be with any app. Like, any app could just get the hell up out of here. And it's like, we really have to be mindful. And it's like, let's be real. I don't think everybody's gonna create their own website and their own website. But it's just interesting to think about, like, you know, having your own site or having your own domain in a way where it's like, you could still use like public sites, but it's just like, hey guys, like, just come to my website, come to my thing. When I get the money, baby, I'm creating a website. Okay, I'm going to create a website, because I think for one, it would be cool, but then also for two, it's like, if something goes on where it's like you can't reach people on a particular platform, you can usher them onto, you know, your personal site. But the only thing that will suck is if the internet altogether stops working, then now we're really screwed. And I'm just like, side note, I'm like, y'all brought back TikTok, but you didn't bring back CapCut or CapCut. I haven't even, because I have CapCut on my laptop, I haven't like gone to see if it's even working or not, so I'm gonna see. But if they bring back TikTok but not CapCut, it's just like, me personally, that's that app, I fuck with that app because it's like just all the editing you can do on that. But bring back CapCut. If it's not back, bring back CapCut, bring it the fuck back. The future of social media is just so interesting. Like, I'm curious as to where social media is going to be in the next 5 years, let alone the next year, because all this talk about social media and just even the internet is just evolving, it's constantly evolving and changing. And it's like a lot of people rely on like the digital platforms, the digital stage. I mean, even our money is digital. So it's just so interesting to think about, like, where is the world going with all of this? Where is the world going with all of this? Content creation, influencing, all of that. Like, where is the future going? I mean, the traditional Hollywood is shifting and a lot of people are going into creating their own stuff. So it's just like, even that within itself, like, even if that's being challenged, it's just like, where do we go? What's next? Who, what, when, where, how? Like, the TikTok ban was just really like the Nickelodeon World Day of Play. It's just like more like World Day of Sleep. Take your ass to sleep. Stop sitting on TikTok till 4 a.m. and go to sleep. I know I've been guilty of that, so go to fuck to sleep. That's what it really was. But it's like, also too, it's like if one app closes, another one opens. So people to be freaking out, and I know a lot of people are also being dramatic just for the shits and giggles, but some people were actually being like seriously dramatic. They were saying that people were calling 911. Now granted, who the fuck is calling 911? Do I really believe that people were calling 911? I don't know. It's a little sketch to me, but I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, some people, you know, they just do anything. Y'all, if one app closes, go to another. People have said like, oh, they don't like Instagram. First of all, people like to shit on Instagram. Instagram is not a bad app. I think Instagram, out of all the apps, is just the most low-key. And it's like, out of all the, like, the most low-key app, and y'all want to shit on her. And people would like to be like, oh, people just like to flex on there. People just like to look good. Well, I mean, well, duh, bitch. You want to be up on the internet looking crazy? And even the people that do sit on the internet looking crazy for being real or trying to, you know, be different, y'all shit on them too. Oh, why are you posting yourself like that? Oh my god, you look crazy. Y'all do anything for clout. Can we live? Can we live? Can I motherfucking live? If you want to post yourself looking fly as fuck, do it. If you want to post yourself looking iced out, do it. It should be like, some things too is just like, you gotta fucking think for yourself. Like, we are in 2025. We already know that the internet is a facade. We already know that the internet is a facade. If it's not like literally a tiny fraction of someone's life, it's a complete lie. Or like, oh, they're too judgy on Instagram. Bitch, they're judgy everywhere. They're judgy on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, fucking any social media platform where there's gonna be other people interacting and coming across with the stuff that you post and put out there. People are gonna judge. So why are y'all sitting there talking about some, oh, they're judgy on that app? Bitch, they're judgy everywhere. Instagram to me is just like, it's just low key. It's like, it's laid back, it's low key. All you do is post your pictures and fucking go. Like, why are we still so caught up in what people think about our posts? Baby, I got a post that I posted like in October, like November. That shit is stuck on 99 likes. Okay, my likes, I don't know if it's just like my posts are just not being pushed out or whatever. Them likes is not liking. But guess what? It's not going to stop me from posting. It's not going to stop me. It's like, I got 2 likes, then so be it. Because I still know I'm fly. I still know that I'm dope. I still know that I look good. So y'all got to know that too. Why are we letting likes judge and determine our value and how we feel about ourselves? And if we're pretty enough, if we're cool enough, bitch, you determine that, not the likes. It's not that serious. It's really not. In the year 2025 is not that serious. And moving forward, because then they take the likes away, and then what? Now you're not valuable because my likes are gone. How am I going to prove to the world that I'm the most admirable and amazing and just successful and just the most everything in the world because all my likes, my 10K likes, my 100K likes. Girl, you don't need likes, you don't need comments to make you feel that way. And yeah, maybe in the beginning, if you're really like in that mindset, it may be not be that easy to work through. Because I remember I used to be like that, especially like in fucking 8th grade and like, you know, middle school. I used to think so much about what people thought. But the older I got, I'm like, fuck y'all. Y'all don't put the air in my lungs. Y'all don't pay my bills. Y'all don't do shit for me. So I'm gonna live for me. Thank you. This whole like fiasco with like the internet and social media is just so interesting to see. Like, seriously, like, I'm just genuinely curious, like, where is the future of social media going? Where is it going? Because we're in this ride, and it's like, it's giving a self-driving car. It's just driving, and we're in the back seat. But that was just honestly like my rant about social media and the whole TikTok ban, just to be banned for like 14 hours and then be unbanned again, literally on the day that they said that they were banning it. But let's see, will TikTok be banned again? Who knows? At this point, it probably could be. Like I said, snatchies. We don't own TikTok, so we don't know the future of TikTok's fate. But or any social media platform at that matter, or for that matter. But I think the most important thing that we should take away from this is that we shouldn't be so, like, to our core anyways, we shouldn't be dependent on these applications. We really shouldn't. And again, I know let me drink some water. I know it's easier said than done, given that we're in a very digital age. Like, people have businesses, people have built careers, people pay their bills and feed their families off the internet, from the use of the internet. And I don't know too much about this, but I've heard about like how the tech industry is very like finicky. But think about it, a lot of people are trying to get into the tech industry because they hear that you get a lot of good money. But imagine trying to be in an industry where you hear that you get a lot of good money, but it's like even your position in that industry is not a guarantee because it's very finicky. And so it's like, we don't know the things that are going to happen outside of us. We don't know. We can have an idea, but even then we don't know to the T, you know, we don't know exactly the details. So all we can do is just hope for the best and just trust in ourselves. And yeah, trust in ourselves. But have fun social mediaing, and I'll be back with another rant. Remember to stay fly and never be dry, and always stay fierce. My computer's overheating. Bye.